It looks like Yuki has been leaked, so let's go ahead and go over her kit and kind of get an idea of what she does, what role she's going to fill. Thank you, Stardust Leaks. Now, a couple things to mention is I don't know if this is just the beta version of like the cards and the kit, if it's going to change significantly when it's actually launched in the game. Honestly, I don't have perfect knowledge, but I do believe that this is probably going to be accurate enough, at least this section here, to give us an idea of like what her design is going to be, what role she's going to fulfill, right? Now, as far as getting into the epiphanies, we'll probably not give them too much attention here, as there are things like this, right? For one turn, give a card plus 20 hits. Is it actually plus 2 hits? Probably, but is it plus 20? I don't know. This one, retain, you do that. And there's a few like that. I mean, maybe these are pretty good, but I'm just going to assume for the most part that these are up for changes. They probably like this one will probably be the same, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's actually first take a look at her cards, and then we'll take a look up there. So Yuki, she is a whatever it's called, a striker. Wah, the two swords crossing. And she is an order. I can't remember what the green is. I think green is order, because justice is blue, instinct is yellow, passion is red. So I think it's order. Long sword slash, basic attack sucks, right? Actually, maybe not when we go up above. This might be one of her better cards in her deck, surprisingly. Rapid cut, you've seen this before. This also gets an upgrade. I don't think it's as good, but we'll take a look. Flowing parry, this is easily her worst card. It has no benefit to anybody or anything, although it does have a kind of a cool name, and it does look like the art is kind of cool, but not really a big deal. Now, so that's for her basic cards. Now that we are getting into her real cards, let's take a look here. This is where you're going to see where her mechanic actually kicks in. She has an emphasis on drawing cards, but it's kind of weird. It's drawing her own attack cards. So this is a lot like Rin, if Rin was not as punishingly greedy. Rin is very greedy, right? The second you use anyone else's attack card, then she loses her effect. This isn't like that. She is also very selfish, but if you use another character's attack card or another character's skill, you're not going to lose anything from her, basically, right? So she draws her own attack card and plus 20% damage for one turn. This is probably like that Haru plus 20% damage or plus 30%, because like it's not always clear. Maybe it's the wording and I'm just silly, but some cards, I think it's like morale, right? You get 2 morale, it gives you plus 40% damage. It's like additive, right? So if you're at 80% damage a hit, it'll go up to 100% damage. Whereas like something like this is probably like multiplicative, where I've had like Haru, it's like, oh, it's at 600% attack and it gets plus 100, or it gets plus 40%, and it goes up to 830% attack or something, right? It's like it's actually 40% of that 600% kind of thing. So I'm assuming that this is not just a flat 20%. That's like a multiplicative. So if it's above 100% damage, it's actually going to scale more than that plus 20%. So that should be pretty good. But also, it's nice to just have a card in your deck that draws one of your own attack cards in general. Honestly, that's not too bad. So one of the things you'll notice as we go through here, this is not an AoE. Yeah, let's talk about that in a second. First of her unique cards, Flash. It's an attack that does 180% damage with inspiration minus 2 costs. So inspiration is actually in the game already. It's just very, very uncommon. I think it might only be on Leap Attack, which of course will be pretty much a perfect card for her. But it's basically when this card is drawn by ability, activate effect by an ability. This does not include your draw at the start of the turn. I think it's a little self-explanatory, but whatever. When you draw a card for the turn, it will not have its inspiration effect. If the card is not in your hand at the start of the turn and you use something like this to draw it, it will draw it with its inspiration effect active. And Flash goes down to being free. It becomes a 0 cost, 180% damage attack. Honestly, I don't love this at this stage. It seems fine, but it doesn't blow me away. A 0 cost 180% attack, I don't know. Like, I think this card will be in an epiphany to actually be worth it, unless you are able to chain lots of her cards together by continuing to draw. But we'll actually talk about my thoughts after we go through the rest of the kit. Trickery Strike, 150% damage, With retain is a very powerful keyword. I love that. Choose one card in your hand and place them on top of the draw pile. Now, this might read to you as like an enabler, and in a sense it is. But you basically need this with another card like this to draw into the card. Let's say you draw Flash as part of your turn. You Trickery Strike it on top of your deck. That way you get it next turn. If you just draw it next turn, it still doesn't have inspiration effect. So what you actually need to do is Trickery Strike, put something like Flash on the top of the deck, then prepare to suppress or Longsword Slash, when we get to it a little bit later, to draw your own attack card. Then you'll activate the inspiration. So you kind of got to use it in combination with something else to be good, but you could still use this to just put like the enemy's not attacking this turn, they'll probably attack next turn, let's put a defensive card on top, right? You don't necessarily need to use this as a combo enabler if you don't have the other half of it. It's a pretty useful effect in general. So I would say I wish I kind of discarded the card and then put it on top for like a little bit weird cross synergy with like Nia, because that's in her banner. But still, overall, this is a pretty nice little card. But 150% damage for 1 energy, it's not like crazy. Again, I'm not blown away by this card, but I think some of the epiphanies could help. Freezing Blade is an upgrade. This one seems like her best card. I mean, these last two both seem nuts. These last two seem so strong that I think she's going to be a good character. All right, so it's an upgrade, unique, 150% damage to own 1 last attack card drawn. So the way I'm reading this is whatever the last attack card that you drew that is her own will get 150% damage. So this doesn't imply to me that it's an inspiration effect. So if you draw for your turn, if you draw Rapid Cut, Flash, and then Longsword Slash, this was the last card that entered your hand, this one would get the bonus. That's my guess. And then if you use Prepare to Suppress to draw Iceberg Cleave out of your deck, then this would lose that plus 150%, and this would gain the 150%. And what I'm assuming, let's say you draw, like I said, Rapid Cut and then Longsword Slash, and this gains the effect. When you use this card, I don't believe it'll then transfer over to Rapid Cut, because that becomes your most recent card. I could be wrong until we actually know exactly how this works. It is, speculation, at least on my part, but the point is 150% damage basically every time you use an attack with, I mean, you have to jump through a little bit of hoops, but that's a lot of free damage if this is still 1 energy. And it's a unique upgrade. So like, I mean, unique isn't good, but upgrade is good. It means it's just always there. And then it's out of your deck. It makes your deck thinner. So also, if you're running a character like Nia, who doesn't run that many upgrades, you could run the support that draws this upgrade on the first turn of combat and then just have that, right? If you're running a deck with 1 upgrade, there is a partner specifically to tutor that specific card out on the first turn of combat, which is great. Then Iceberg Cleave, 240% damage for 1 hit. So it's already stronger than Rapid Cut, always, in every situation. And if you were able to get the inspiration, plus 2 hits, which implies to me that it's 3 hits, which would be almost, not 750, but 720% damage for a 1-cost card. If you could just draw this, I think that those numbers might be nerfed, because this card seems too strong. 240% 3 times is unbelievable, especially if you draw it with this. If you use this, if you Trickery Strike this on top of your deck and you draw it with this, now it's getting the plus 20%, which is really probably closer to plus 40%, because of, I'm assuming it's multiplicative. And so now you're doing 285% damage 3 times or something. Like, I don't know. That just seems like way too much damage. So this card seems bonkers to me, and so does Freezing Upgrade, especially because this 150% damage would go on to the Iceberg Cleave, right? So these 2 cards seem insane. Flash seems mid to me. I mean, I know it's a 0-cost damage card, which is, I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. That is good, but comparatively to the other ones, it feels a little more like this is just the worst out of these 4, I guess. Which, I mean, I would still be happy to have this. Like, if Owen had this, I'd be like, that's pretty cool, Owen. So I like this. So basically, this is what I'm saying. She is about drawing her own cards and then using her own cards. She seems to have very little flexibility, in the sense that she's going to kind of do what she does. You might be able to have different team feels by running her with different units, but at the end of the day, she's going to be trying to draw her own attack cards and then use the most recent one she drew. So if the AI is good, this could be a character that the AI is really powerful with, if she just draws her own attack cards and then uses the most recent one with the Freezing Blade upgrade. If you want to do other stuff, like, that's what I kind of like about her. compared to Rin. Like, you could still use other characters' attacks. You could still use like someone to apply vulnerable and then use her attacks. It's not gonna like break her whole combo, which is super, super cool. And she is selfish, and she seems like she's gonna do an insane amount of damage. But really quick, if we take a look up here, so she has 3 of these, right? Plus damage on this, plus damage on that. That's kind of cool. But the one that I think is interesting is the basic card proficiency. Inspiration to Longsword Slash. So it's adding inspiration to both of her basic cards that are the attacks. One of them is draw 1 of your own attack cards, and then the other one for Rapid Slash makes it cost 1. So this one here on the left will add draw a card of one of her own attack cards. It basically adds the first line of text to the 0 cost card. And it's going to do 100% plus whatever your modifier's damage, right? So it's a nice little attack with the ability to draw one of her own attack cards. And then pretty much every of her other attack cards, she doesn't have that many attack cards, right? You're not going to duplicate either of these. I don't even know if you can. And so you're either going to you're probably going to draw Flash and it becomes free. You could draw a Trickery Strike, or you could draw the insane overpowered attack, assuming that it's in your draw pile, right? So this seems like it's going to be better than Rapid Cut. Rapid Cut goes down to 1 cost, which is good, but it's probably still worse than just using Flash in general. So I probably will end up removing Flowing Parry first, Rapid Cut second, and then use Longsword Slash and to prepare for Suppress, Flash, Trickery Strike, this, you know. That's how I think it's going to go. So I think she's going to be pretty insane at single target. She actually has basically 0, and I like maybe one of the least amount of AoE of all the characters in the game. Maybe someone has less. The only thing I've seen over here in these is something like this: 180% damage to all enemies and Flash becomes free. Nothing else seems to do anything like that, right? And again, some of these seem like really good, like when drawn by an ability, plus 330% damage of your own attack card for 1 turn as an upgrade. Like, are you serious? I don't know. This one seems like it over doubles the effect, which I don't understand. I guess this, because this makes it you have to draw it with an ability, and this one at 220% means that if you just draw it in general, you could just use it. But still, this one seems insane if those are the numbers on there. And Freezing Blade is a little bit more. This one might read as like the same, it's just cheaper, but it has Initiation, which I believe is Oath of War or whatever. It's the one that starts in your hand. But I mean, that is good. Don't get me wrong. Just having it start in your open hand for free is a nice little trick there. The only other one that I really wanted to like mention was actually this one here. Choose 1 of your own cards in hand, activate Inspiration. So the reason I really like this is it adds to the potential super, super high end damage turn where you might just be biding your time, stacking your deck just right. And I don't know exactly how this works, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know if Inspiration could trigger multiple times, but hypothetically, this is the kind of turn that I'm thinking of, right? You use either Longsword Slash or Prepare to Suppress. I mean, let's look at an ideal turn. Use Prepare. You have Trickery Strike in your hand because it had Retain. Then you use Prepare to Suppress. You draw Iceberg Cleave. It gets Inspiration +2, right? So now it's hitting 3 times with bonus damage. Then use Trickery Strike to hit for 180, and you choose one of your own cards and you activate Inspiration again. Now it has +4 hits, so it's hitting 5 times. And it's also your most recently drawn attack card, so it's getting another +330, 150 to 330%. So I don't even know. Is this hitting for, like, let's see, let's just assume that you're getting 250 plus, we'll just say 200%, so 450% plus whatever this 20% is. Maybe it just goes up to 500%, and you're hitting for 2,500% damage, you know, 500% damage 5 times. Like, this is the kind of thing that, and think about how much energy you spent. 0, this was already in play. 1, 2, you spent 2 energy to do that on this turn. And that means you have an extra energy ready, and you also hit with this, and you hit with that, and so you might even still have something crazy to do. Like, I don't know, you can do, if you have a Mia on the team, right, you might still have 2 or 3 energy left, who knows? So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this character, is she might be, it's kind of weird, because she strikes me as Rin, because she's very selfish and wants to draw her own cards, but she does it in a way that doesn't seem to be super, like, oppressive to other characters. And in fact, if she's going to be using cards that draws her own cards, right, you're going to get those relatively early in the deck, ideally, like you would think. If you have 20 cards, you use cards to draw your own, you're going to draw those. And so you're going to have to go through quite a bit of the deck where she doesn't have any attack cards because you front loaded them all by drawing them, right? And so then the rest of the deck is going to be mostly cards from two different people. So she's going to have her selfish turns where she gets all of her cards. And then there's going to be turns where you're using primarily the other two characters until the deck resets, right? And then you can start drawing cards again. So she has like a kind of a, even though she only draws for herself, deck thinning does help you get the other cards for other characters after that turn is over. And so she does feel like Rin in that way, where she's just very selfish on her own attacks. But she does it in a way that's way less selfish. Then she kind of feels like Haru, where she just has like the best single target damage in the game, but also does it for like way less energy. Now, I don't know what these upgrades are like. I don't know if this is exactly, if these are with E0 or if this is E6. You know, I don't know where we're sitting at right now. This is the best this is what I've gotten. Thank you, Stardust Leaks, for even this much. So if this character is, we don't need all of this to be exactly the same, right? But if we are able to have Retain on Trickery Strike combined with getting, I mean, even if you, yeah, I feel like if you get Retain on Trickery Strike, which stays, then you're able to get this Trickery Strike to activate the Inspiration and then draw this card to get the Inspiration. This could do 2,000% damage to one target. Now, she's never going to do AoE, which these are the two characters that I actually think are going to work really, really well with her, which is probably why they're on her banner. I mean, a lot of characters will work well because that's just the way the game is. Magna could work really well as well, but basically, you want someone that after she uses all of her cards is going to be able to cycle through the deck really, really fast, while at the same time being able to draw cards, because she doesn't have to use her own abilities to draw her cards. The Inspiration will trigger as soon as use any ability to draw a card. So Nia's draw will go there. Beryl could also do that, right? Beryl it's an exhaust, but still it does draw. And then Luke here, this is Luke or Lucas? I think this is Lucas. Lucas is, he's decent at AoE. He's got the flamethrower, he's got the flash grenade, he's got the bullets that aren't free, but they'll hit. When he gets to rank 6, he has one free bullet a turn, and it hits 2 targets every time. So I actually think Lucas is decent at AoE, maybe not the best. I would probably end up running Owen instead, just because I like Owen's wind slash. And Owen also has good defensive capabilities. This team doesn't have a lot of defense. You're relying on Nia to heal, and I haven't felt Nia's like the great healer. But yeah, a little bit of AoE to help you cover, and then she's just gonna burst people down like crazy. Not gonna lie, I think the sword is cool. It's a Sephiroth sword. I think there was something about the art, and I'll admit, like, they don't look like the same sword necessarily. Maybe they are, I don't know, but the sword does seem like it has like different styles depending on where I'm looking, but maybe not. Maybe it's just different art styles, like that sadistic card, right? So overall, she seems like she's going to be absolutely bonkers at single target DPS, probably better than Haru, and maybe not as good actually with Owen with the extra hits, just because this already can potentially get so many hits, but still, an extra hit on this is still badass. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, guys, that is going to be all for this one. I really wish Owen was on this banner. I really want to max out Owen really bad, but whatever. Lucas is one I want to max out. I'll probably max out both these characters, pulling for her because I know my luck. But yeah, what do you think about this character? I'm kind of interested. Obviously, she's a little goony, but I'm more interested in what you think about her kit. I think her kit's a little bit dull. This isn't a very exciting character mechanically, at least to me. However, I have a hard time. I can't imagine that this is bad with how powerful these cards right here can all be together. The rest of these, like these three, I'm like, okay, maybe the Flash seems like a little lame, but my goodness, does this Iceberg Cleave, Trickery Strike, and Freezing Blade seem insane? But yeah, that's all. Much love. Let me know how you feel. Per platypus, I will see you on the flip flops. Bye.